It's important to respect the decks that came before you. That's why today I've got a Brian Kelly style Oath deck. Welcome back, vintage gamers. It's just something about creating the worst possible mana bases that makes me just so happy as a Magic player. We're going down a little bit of a memory lane trip here to a historical archetype that I find extremely enjoyable. Brian Kelly Oath. It means a lot of things, actually, because Brian did so much work inside of the Oath space. But if you don't know, Brian Kelly is a prolific deck builder, vintage world champion, and pioneer of lots of different ideas inside of the Oath archetype. One of my favorite ideas is the concept of 2 Oath of Druids, no Forbidden Orchard, in a deck that is basically a control deck with some large, powerful, classical control win cons that are castable. So basically, you have these oaths, but your main plan isn't Oath Orchard, give your opponent a creature, put a huge Atraxa into play. It's more if sometimes, my opponent played a creature. There's a metagame that's got a lot of creatures in it. Okay, then I can get a 2-mana NIV-MIZZET. I can get a 2-mana Sun Titan, 2-mana Inferno Titan, 2-mana Dragon Lord Demoka, and these kind of options, which is really, really, I think, quite interesting. So basically, you have this kind of rug controlling shell. In this version, I've decided to be just completely degen and just run 4 colors because what's a 4th color between friends? So we have a 4-color, no black control deck, Planeswalker control deck, Dak Faden, Oko, Teferi, Narset, Boo, red and 6, with your classic Force of Will shell. We have top-end creatures that are castable. Sun Titan a little less castable than... Maybe they're both, not super castable, okay? But they're both castable at 6 mana, but can be cheated into play at 2 mana. NIV-MIZZET, I think, just, seems like it could be, a pretty nice metagame call, casting against, blue-black. But maybe you get wastelanded too much for that to actually be the case. However, it does a pretty nice job of answering Bowmaster, which is really sweet, and it can be uncounterable. Sun Titan is just usually a win the game off of Oath of Druids. Theoretically, you're oathing into a Sun Titan. You've milled over a lot of your deck and trying to bring back an Underworld Breach for a Brain Freeze combo. So we are a rug control deck with a Brain Freeze go over the top combo. Some typical answers, some a little atypical answers. I think Nature's Claim is really good right now. Things like Fragmentize and Nature's Claim are really strong because if you're ahead on tempo and you're 1-for-1ing an Urza Saga player, you're actually gaining a pretty significant advantage. Like I said, the mana base in this deck is going to probably kill me. We'll find out. I get some nice sideboard options when we're not dedicated to playing Forbidden Orchard nonsense. We can actually just bring in 4 Collector Roof against Jewel. We can actually go up to 4 Oath against a heavy creature deck and bring in some Sarah's Emissaries. So I have some different ways to pivot. Some Rending Volleys here. Don't know how I feel about them exactly, but this is a card that is good against mono white, and then also can be used again the Lurrus matchup, the blue white Lurrus matchup, killing Lavinia and Lurrus uncounterably. Could be interesting. In the mono white matchup, it's a 4 damage removal spell for the white creatures that can't be countered. So if they went turn 1 white creature with a Chancellor, you could actually cast this through the Chancellor. So there's some interesting things here. I've tried versions of this deck in the past. They've always done okay, actually. We've played different leagues and even prelims. I have one from almost a year ago now when I basically tried this exact shell, except I was using Inferno Titan and Kogula. Kogula, another cool 6-drop castable card that has some other effects going on, and you can even shuffle it back into your deck to bring back with Oath. So there's some cool ways you can attempt to work inside the shell. I thought it'd be fun to try it out today. It's possible that this kind of idea of a true control, a Planeswalker control deck, just doesn't really work in the current state of Vintage, and that might be possible, and maybe we'll learn that today and put it to bed. But I think that the things you're still doing in this deck are powerful, and I think worth at least playing around with. So do I want to anything else? No, I kind of want to change this NIV-MIZZET because I just realized I don't have another Volcanic in my deck. Can I fit another Volcanic in my deck? God, this mana base is the worst thing I've ever created. I actually think maybe it's the Trop goes down and the Vault goes up. Wow. No, but then I have no green lands in my deck. What am I looking at? This mana base. I feel like I can't play this Gush mana base, and I have to just start putting in random colors. But then I can't play Lorien Revealed, which is a really nice tie together. Maybe the answer is something more like, I don't need 2 Tundras in this deck. Actually, that does kind of sound like the answer. This is a 1 Tundra deck. And then I have 1 Tundra for Teferi, Savine's Reclamation, both of which can be cast off of Pearl, Petal, Lotus, and brought back with Teferi can be brought back with Sun Titan off of Oath. The Sun Titan is not super castable, but I think this makes the rest of the deck better. Okay. Better. Not, I mean, well, let's find out. Let's go to round 1. Are you interested in weekly vintage metagame recommendations? Do you want to see your deck list played on my channel? Or maybe you are just looking for the best way to support my vintage content. Make sure you check out the Patreon link in the description below. Let's battle. All right, chat. Wish me luck. Oh my god, I shouldn't have looked. This is a classic. A classic. I can't even blame Brian Kelly because I made this mana base, but like, you should see Brian's mana bases. They're much worse. They have like 1 library, one Urza Saga, one. It's just wild. This is a classic Tundra Wasteland Wrenn and 6 hand. However, if we just simply ignore that part of the problem, we have a Lorien Revealed that can get one of our parts to casting Wrenn and 6. We can get like Merchant Scroll and Ancestral. We just don't focus on the Wrenn and 6. And everything else about this hand is fine. Ancestral on my upkeep. I have Mental Misstep. No. Okay. If I simply don't acknowledge the fact that my hand has a Wrenn and 6 in it, the mana is completely fine. Mystical Tutor. I mean, that's going to have to be for Ancestral, right? So we should just let this resolve and then counter whatever they get. Yeah, that is not a good play. And I'm not saying that's a bad play. My opponent might have, this might be the best play. I just... Typically, Sapphire, Mystical, Ancestral, Go is not what you need to be doing. Oh, my opponent's making a nice one here where they're going to play on my upkeep. Maybe they have negation back up. I like that. Not much I can really do. I'm going to incentivize maybe a cast or something. They'd go up to 8 by tapping out from like Flusterstorm, Spell Pierce. Okay, they're willing to force pitch Oko for this, which means it seems pretty important. My Merchant Scroll is also pretty important, but I think this is just more and better. More better? More better, Justin. Good job. I don't know. It feels like if my opponent is willing to spend... So is a green source or a red source better? I guess a red source is better. Interesting. My opponent's willing to spend Mystical Tutor multiple turns to, like, figure this out. I think it's worth it to just let it go. I also have Wasteland Lock coming, though. Not great against active Sapphire. Ooh, Orchard immediately, but no Oath. That's good for me. I think I would rather simply Wasteland this to keep them off of Colorful Mana, off of Oko. I now have a Spell Pierce, which is a great draw. I think I am in the controlling position in this game now. Not only that, but I also drew a fetch land, so my Wrenn and 6 has got both Wasteland and Fetch Lands infinite. So, I mean, things have worked out really well. I think I'm not going to ponder with a fetch land here, just because I want to hold open Spell Pierce. Classic mana base, not a problem. Simply live long enough to play all your lands. Force of Negation. Pitching Show and Tell. I have a Bolt for an Oath to buy me time. I think I'm interested in just forcing this Wrenn and 6 through here. Well, I mean, have a Ponder, so it's a little bit of like a 1-turn window, right? Bring back a Wasteland. But I have some nice things where, like, not only do I have a Bolt, but if they have an Orchard here, I can Wasteland the Orchard, they have to make a token, and then I can shoot it with Wrenn and 6. So, like, I'm actually pretty covered on Oath. And they haven't done a lot of mana, right? So, Narset. All right, let's start with Ponder. And I have a fetch land, so I can pick and choose here. Oh, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Interesting. Well then. I don't think they have a counter spell, though I do want force. I think I just simply want to play this Decklists more than anything. I'm going to return this and fetch away the force, because I think I'm just going to play a walker on every turn for the rest of the game. And I think, like I said, I'm covered. I guess I'm not covered from, like, Mana Crypt Tinker is what I'm not covered from. But I guess if my DAC resolves, then I am covered from Mana Crypt Tinker. Kind of some weird things happening. I'm not 100% sure if this is, like, the most prudent path forward, but I really do like putting this on the stack. Feels pretty lethal, right? Okay, we successfully played Rug Control there with our starting Tundra. Definitely do not want to play the Oath of Druid's Mirror here with our opponent. My opponent has Forbidden Orchards and I do not, which puts us in a bit of an awkward spot. We don't really have a lot of good cards for the Oath matchup because, like, my deck has a lot of cards you could play for the Oath matchup. You could play, you can do a lot of cool things, like play, what the hell am I thinking of? Like, Pyroblast is really cool for this matchup, but I don't have any Pyroblasts in my deck. I'm not really sure Pyroblast is, like, good in the metagame kind of deal. I have some good answers, right? I have the main board, Claim, the Beseiju. I think it's just simply we upgrade our oaths into some removal and then battle like it is. I wouldn't say like we got that much better post board, so. But like half of my post board, this is like 6 cards for Bazaar, 4 cards for Jewel, 3 cards that are removal spell. Like I'm supposed to be kind of boarded already for blue decks, so. This one's a nice one. My mana looks a lot better in this hand. Fetch land, go. Upkeep. Ancestral. Sure seemed like an ancestral, but it's not. I think I'd like to see what you're doing before I make choices. Oath, Orchard, Beseiju, Demonic, Tinker, Brainstorm. Well, I see. Hmm. All right. Well, I think the answer is pass. This way, if they like win a fight over Oath, I could still run and 6 it. I don't know if that's actually like a viable what I really want to do. I'd rather just fight over this Oath, right? Because I don't have a Wasteland. If I had a Wasteland, I think you can let this Oath resolve because I can Wasteland the Orchard and ping the 1/1. But as it stands, I would just ping the 1/1 and lose. They don't have an artifact that I can Oko. I kind of need to use this Lorien Field, so I have to pitch this Oko, which is not great because I kind of want it into Tinker. But I guess I have a grudge for Tinker, so I guess I'm forced to force this. Not ideal, but I think in the current situation. And then here we also have like this problem where Lorien Revealed is not a fetch land. It's like not very good with Ren and 6. I don't have anything to pick up with my Ren and 6 right now. The Beseiju though. Beseiju though. Not a bad one. Does not get cost reduced. Do I play Ren and 6? I can hold up Beseiju. I guess I should just play Ren and 6. Really wish I had a fetch land here. Or a Wasteland, obviously. Wasteland's incredible. But I have Beseiju and Grudge. If I had known I was going to draw Beseiju, I don't think I would have forced this Oath of Druids. Because now my opponent can go land Demonic, Tinker. Maybe I'm like supposed to hold up a Seiju and Grudge because if they go like Demonic Mana Crypt Tinker, I could lose immediately. But I feel like, oh, well, time to find out. They don't have a land drop to give, so I just have to hope they don't hit something good off the top, and then I can answer it pretty easily. But they did hit a Moxen off of their Brainstorm. Okay, I mean, I could have played around this by not advancing my board with Ren and 6. But also, like, my opponent's deck's pretty good at bricking off Citadel. Abrupt Decay, uncounterably killing Ren and 6. Okay, well, certainly paid the price, and then they bricked. Okay. So the next question ends up becoming, are we grudging it, or are we besieging it? If we don't land, then I guess we can grudge it. Okay. So let's cast... I can Savine's Reclamation of my Ren and 6 for a Wasteland lock later. The problem is here they can go Demonic Ancestral. It's fine, I guess. All right, Ancient Grudge has happened, and then I'm definitely going to Wasteland this. I still have Grudge in my yard, and I have next turn I have Reclamation Ren and 6. So they kind of have to like go land Demonic Ancestral, which is still really good, but yeah. They are giving us a lot of 1/1s. Hopefully, like, I can keep them off mana so that they don't go, like, Show and Tell, and instead they just play Oath. Ugh, I'm just, like, struggling to keep up with the power of my opponent's cards. My opponent has played a lot of really strong cards. Alright, well, I'm going to try to Reclamation back my Ren and 6. See if that works. And then I'm going to bring back my Wasteland. I'm going to Wasteland. The problem is, I was unable to flashback Grudge this turn, so I don't actually stop them from Show and Telling. Not that I could actually stop them from Show and Tell by grudging, because they have a Besieger to play anyways. I mean, they possibly could have Brainstormed it away, obviously. Not really beating Show and Tell, really, so... I have to hope they, like, go Oathing instead. No, they're going Show and Telling. That is super unfortunate. I guess I can Oko. Draw an Oko off the top. Yeah. My opponent's cards were just so much more powerful than mine, right? They played, like, too many restricted broken cards, and I didn't have enough answers. Like, this Ancestral resolving, if the Ancestral doesn't resolve, I have a nice little Ren and 6 lock, and we're in a good spot, but... So, what are my actual answers to this thing? Just, like, Oko... So, what did they get? This didn't look good, right? Oko, Sapphire, Force, Trop. Yeah, it's still good. Yeah, so now they have an answer to everything. I can still Breach combo out of this game, maybe. Though I don't have a 6 mana or 5 mana to flashback a Reclamation on a Breach. So maybe what I should have done is just put the Wasteland into play. And I mean, my opponent's gonna have Force up though. So like, what's the point? I don't have that much time. Oh, I don't have a white mana anyways. Yeah, I think I just got powered here, right? I don't think killing this matters. I guess it doesn't really hurt, though. It also ups my brain freeze. So if I draw Black Lotus and mill Underworld Breach, I guess that's the way I win this game. I milled Black Lotus off the top. And then Gush would have been nice. Brainstorm. I'm just gonna cast this. I feel like it gets much better here. Fetch. Just fetch a Tundra. Yeah, so I think I fucked this game up a little bit. Excuse my language. I think instead of wastelanding last turn, I should have just put the land in play and left it. Because that way, this turn, I can brainstorm into a land and get my 5th land for Tundra. Where now I have to wait, get 2 lands, and hope my opponent doesn't have a blue card for force at this point. Which feels unlikely. I guess I can theoretically wait and Spell Pierce, but that's no good, really. But even then, I don't have the breach in my yard. So I guess the best way to win is draw breach. Only have 1 more draw step. 2 more draw steps, I guess. Oh, interesting that they didn't hold the Besaju. They probably just have blue card force, right? Realistically, that's probably the case. Oh, I guess they have hard cast force. I see. I could strip mine and draw breach second main. Bolt. Doesn't really help. So I think what my best plan is to get their force out of their hand. And just bring back Oko, Ren, and 6. Like, they're going to force this because they have an Atraxa they have to keep in play. And then I can hopefully draw breach. Yeah. Oh, they didn't even hard cast force. Interesting. Force pitch Oko number 2. All right. Well, this isn't that big a deal because I can simply just draw breach now and hope, if assuming they don't have another force in their hand. So I think I've set myself up in a position where I can win a game. 1 in 33. Let's just chump this thing. All right. So if they don't have any counters left, then I draw breach. Scalding Dark. Okay. I don't even hate how I played that game. I think it just didn't have, like I said, I mean, it's hard to beat an Resolved Ancestral in a Blue Mirror for sure. Oh, I guess I had Sun Titan as well, but I can't cast Sun Titan unless I have an artifact mana. Because I only have 1 Tundra in my deck, because I don't think I can fit another Tundra in my deck. Oh, I had it to Fairy as well. So I have a couple good answers to an Atraxa in play. Yeah. I mean, I'm not happy about this hand, but I think it's acceptable in this kind of combo-oriented matchup here. I'd love to have more lands. If I can simply draw lands every turn, I'll be happy for a little while at least. Obviously, like a land plus a Ren and 6 is also really sick. There's like, I don't know. I wanted to play 3 Ren and 6. I think Ren and 6 is like the most important card in these kind of decks. But I didn't want to do that with like the Tundra and stuff. Maybe I should have just still played 3 Ren and 6s anyways. Ren and 6 is just like so strong at like enabling a controlling game plan by just making sure your land drops get hit every single turn. Really crazy card. Probably sees not enough play in Vintage. This is just 2 Misties. All right, so 6 cards, no play. Looking for a land. Drew a land. I should have been more specific. I was looking for a... Wait, maybe I'm supposed to just play fetch and then Savine's back the fetch there. That might have been better. They have a lot of mana. That's fine. They only have 5 cards. We have 2 forces and a misstep. I have a nice stackable pearl. If I hit a land drop. Oh, maybe I was supposed to wasteland them there. I don't really want to. I don't really think I can actually beat a Oko at the moment. I feel like misstep doesn't hit enough cards. I'm just gonna get rid of the misstep. If they had an ancestral, they would have cast it, right? Like maybe they'll top deck ancestral, but force pitching Atraxa. I didn't like put a Pyroblast in my deck, so I feel like I should just be forcing this. All right, just hope I draw a land and play my Decklists. Not a wasteland. Ruby, that does do it. Lets me also wasteland too, so let's go get a Tundra and a Ruby and play a Decklists. Steel, Pearl, and Wasteland, a Trop. Okay. We also have value of putting our Reclamation in our yard. Second Oko, maybe. Show and tell is pretty bad here. But they pitched an Atraxa. Oh, Abrupt Decay on my deck. That's fine. I have a Savine's Reclamation. Savine has been hell of a drug here. Oh, interesting. I can Savine's a Renin 6. That's even better, right? Oh no, I can't Savine. Yeah, I can Savine's a Renin 6 later. I mean, I'm talking about getting back my Misty. It's probably worse than just getting back my DAC and then getting a Misty later, right? Savine'sing has been quite powerful. Gosh. Trop. Wasteland. They have 1 card left. I don't have enough mana to Savine's, so... This basic's been putting in work as well. NIV-MIZZET. Plus... Emerald. Nice. So NIV-MIZZET and Bolt into my yard. Emerald. Ren. Now I have enough for Savine's next turn as well. Misty. Also, Ren Decklists is a combination. Maybe I'm supposed to hold it in case I drop a Rainstorm or something. It's a fairy. So let's plus on Trop. Plus on DAC. I guess we should just play Teferi. Hold open, besiege you. I still have reclamation in my yard. Maybe I can emblem and rebuy something. All right. This is why I kept my besiege you. So I still don't actually care about this oath because I can... Oh, I didn't rebuy Wasteland. But I can. So I can Ren and 6 this, and then rebuy Wasteland, or I can Defaria. I think I don't even care about this. Let's just bounce this. Probe my opponent. Worst misstep. Plus my DAC. I just plus Wasteland. Wasteland this. I guess I should have found another different blue card. I didn't really think about this. I'm not really playing this super optimally, but I do have a win condition now, so that's always fun. All right, I have infinite cards. Checkmate, opponent. Return a Wasteland. Plus this. Plus this. Sun Titan. It's exciting. I'm glad I got to cast Sun Titan. Opponent's very nice for letting me do that one. Let's cast Savines. It's just fine. We'll just leave this as it is. I have Renin 6 ultimate next turn. Opponent is enjoying the show. I have a couple different hard casts here. Yeah. That was sweet. All right, back at it, round 2. Nice looking BK hand. Classic main mind trap. Shelby's so cute. Just the best ancient grudge art. Oh, no. Historically, not a good matchup. Unfortunate circumstances here. Turn 1 Vengevine. Jeez. Basically, the only way we're beating this is an oath off the top. It's doable. It's still doable. I think we're just going scroll for Ancestral. I guess technically we could hit Brain Freeze combo as well. I hope we don't get Wastelanded. I don't have a basic to fetch, so Kaya's Cradle? Holy moly. Bring back Bloodghast. Hit me for 9. Alright, this is my only turn. To cast Oof. Yep. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just get vined. Now I don't even have any outs, right? I have like bolts and stuff, but it's gonna be too late. What are you doing, NIV-MIZZET? Nature's Claim. So 3, 7, 11, 13, 15, 17. I only have up to 14 life. All right. Well, I was bested in the arena of ideas. Aggrovine. Well, the good news is I have some answers here. Yeah. Bolt, claim, pierce, misstep still good, negation, trap. Gosh. Okay, let's try this. Oh, I guess I still have these in. I kind of want to always hit Sarah's Emissary. I guess I can hit... Nah, I kind of always want to hit Sarah's Emissary. Can we go down on Boo and down on... Probably Grudge. I have Claim. Oh, wait, I have 4 cards. So... Never mind. Gush, Boo, Grudge, and... I guess Sun Titan? Like, bringing any of the other cards in is so bad. It's not that bad to hit a Sun Titan. I don't know if this hand is particularly good enough, but I have access to a Bolt. I can play a turn 2 Oko. I can strip mine. So I feel like this is reasonable. Hex Drinker. Classic Aggrovine. You don't see that too much anymore, but I know QQE just top 8'd with it, so. People are out there trying to put some Vengevines in play. Yeah, I guess I'll hold the Emerald. I don't see a real reason not to. Don't want to give them the extra information. Bizarre. All right, let's see what the damage is. Okay. Rootwalla, Vengevine. Ugh, it's so hard to play fair against this deck. So strong. And a hollow one? Alright. I mean, like, freaking hitting him with a strip mine doesn't even matter. Alright. I mean, I'm still gonna. And then I can besiege you this hollow one. Kind of stemming the bleeding here. I think I'd rather preserve the life and give them a land possibly than take extra 4. Oh, they don't have a land. Nice. All right, just some root wallas? That we can do. Ancestral, Oko. I like Oko better. The longer Oko's in play, the more powerful it is, so... Just gonna make a food. This opens me up, I guess, to getting vigored, but... I think we're winning this game. Strip Mine, plus the Moxen, plus the Bolt, plus the Beseiju. It all worked out very nicely. Ren and 6. Sweet. What's Ancestral Black Lotus, Sarah's Emissary, Oath of Druids. Let's see. I kind of feel like I don't need to play Oath this game. I don't even have to show them Oath, really. I kind of want to not show them Oath, to be honest. Sure. Kind of felt like that was coming, but it's okay. Can I get away with not showing them Oath? I guess if I hit, I guess I could just cast this Emissary next turn and win. I guess that's fine. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm still winning on board with these creatures. The only way I would be losing is if they hit a black, a Bazaar and Vengevine back. But then even then, I have options. So I think not showing them Oath here is really sweet. Maybe Sun Titan is worse than something. The problem is none of these cards do anything. Vigor can kill a hollow one, but I think we'll be okay if we Oath into a Sun Titan anyways, right? Right? I sure hope so. My sideboard plan might need a little better mapping. I brought in the Tabernacles, right? Like, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter because, like, who is boarding for Aggrovine anyways? But, like, if this Vigor was a claim, I'd probably bring it in. So, Tab, Ancestral, Pet. I mean, I'm going to keep this. Hogak, go. Wild. All right, well. I'm gonna overdraw to hit my land drop. I guess I theoretically could just Lorien for my land drop, but then I can get Wastelanded. No, it's probably better to just Lorien for my land drop. I don't know if that's true, but I mean, this is not bad, and I can cast Ancestral if I get Wastelanded anyways, so. I'm gonna upkeep Ancestral so they have less chance of having mental misstep. Having Sun Titan is nice here where I have drawn one of my emissaries. Okay, got lands for days. Tabernacle and Oath, not exactly a combination, but Bloodghast, oof. Second Bazaar, trigger Bloodghast. Might even be able to put a Hogak in play. Down to 3 cards. Hopefully they just run out of things here, and then I can Oath after they've used all their resources. Run out of cards in hand. This puts a Hogak in play, then I wipe the board. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Probably won't work the second time though. If I can draw a Moxen, that'd be pretty cool. Force. That could be pretty good as well. Is Tabby good enough? Question mark. I'm gonna get rid of the Sarah's Emissary. I'm not really casting it in this deck. All right. I can even cast another Hogak here, which is pretty, or force another Hogak here, which will buy me some time as well. Obviously, like Tabernacle being in play means Oath, active player, non-active player. It doesn't matter. Okay, so 1 card remaining. They have a Wasteland for a Tabernacle. Can they get another creature in play to bring back a Hogak? They need to hit a thing here. They didn't hit a thing here. So they can't bring back one this turn. So now they're in trouble. Are they going to think about Wastelanding my Tropical? Okay. So active player, non-active player. The Tabernacle is giving the ability to the Bloodghast. So it's their trigger that goes on the stack. So my Oath trigger should resolve before the Bloodghast gets sacked. Is that how that works? Oh no, because I have to go to my turn. Okay, duh. That's okay though. That's duh. This only triggers on for me on my turn. Okay. The problem, the thing is that's okay. We're advancing our board here. Keeping creatures off the board, and we'll start playing planeswalkers and win that way as well. So Cradle, bring back Bloodghasts. All right, so they don't care about me oathing apparently. So I'm going to I don't even have to force the GAC. Okay, this is actually going to bring back a Vengevine. It's pretty sick. I don't have to force the GAC, but I think I'm going to just force the GAC. It'll just buy me more time. They also have Cradle. I mean, I kind of have to hit Sarah's Emissary here or Breach combo. I hit Sun Titan, but no Breach combo. It's not ideal. I guess I can... Huh. If they had killed my Tabernacle already, I could bring back my Tabernacle. If I get a Time Walk, I could Wasteland their Wasteland and then bring back my Tabernacle. But then I still have to hit Cradle. I mean, this thing also just blocks like crazy, right? Just bring back Ren and 6, maybe. Okay. So just gonna get a Narset so they can't do anything more with these Bazaars, really. Time Walk is a good one. And then I'll just ping a Rootwalla. Sorry, a Rootwalla. Well, maybe it's a Bloodghast. I was just thinking they can bring Bloodghast back, but... Alright, so this board doesn't get through my Sun Titan. It kills the Narset, I guess, so maybe it does. So if I had shot the Bloodghast, it would still kill the Narset. But I have a Time Walk coming. Even if my Sarah's Emissary mills me all the way over, my Sun Titan can bring back a Breach. So I think this is just winning either way. So I was correct in analyzing that the Sun Titan will probably win me the most games. Like, if I didn't have a Narset there, I could have Oko'd the Hogak anyways, so I would have shrunk their board again. So, like, even if Emissary... I can't find out. But even if Emissary is on the bottom of my deck... Okay, if it's actual factual the last card in my deck, I would lose, obviously. But if it was, like, the second to last card in my deck, and I draw, then I can just Sun Titan back a Breach and win anyways. So... pretty cool, actually. I'm pretty happy with this win. All right, we're continuing now for round 3. We got Alberto. Powerful Grinder. Don't know. Typically, Alberto likes to play Collector Roof, but I see a revealed Lurrus. That doesn't mean it's not Collector Roof. There's a nice little Lurrus Deathrite Shaman deck going around right now that Medvedev won with recently. Something I had... Actually, that deck has no Saga in it, which is really fun, too. People love seeing the no Saga decks do well for whatever reason. No Art Ponder. Okay. Definitely feels like that Lurrus deck just kind of preys upon a Saga metagame. We'll see, though. This deck is a lot better when it has Moxen. Most decks are, but this deck feels even more so. Take a quick peek on what my opponent's got going on here. They didn't shuffle, so looks like it's blue-white Lurrus Saga. Maybe Esper, sorry. Underground Sea and Tundra. There's a Wasteland and a Lavinia and a Negation in hand. So I have this Ancestral, but I'm going to overdraw. I think I'm gonna Wasteland my opponent because I don't want them to just play this Lavinia this turn. The unfortunate problem of Wastelanding here is if my opponent simply draws a Urza Saga. But not much I can do in that scenario here, I think. I'm just so far behind because they have a Moxen and I don't. I think I'd rather get my Tundra Wastelanded than anything else here. I'm just going to Ancestral on their upkeep, even if it's going to cause me to overdraw. Hopefully they force or something, because I'd love to force back. They drew Brainstorm. It'd be bad if they had a Bowmaster, I guess. I'm kind of hoping they like find a counterspell and force so that I can just use my negation. My negation doesn't usually have targets in this matchup, so just gonna get Wastelanded in overdraw, it looks like. I might just negate this bauble. Like, not gonna have opportunities to negate anything. Maybe I should just negated the Brainstorm, but I'm not casting anything. I mean, maybe I should have pitched a Planeswalker because I'm gonna be away from 3 lands for a while now. Is this just Bowmaster? Interesting. Bowmaster looks pretty good into my Magic the Gathering cards, I would say. I guess it no longer looks pretty good into my Magic the Gathering cards. Kind of have to hold this bolt for something else, though. Lurrus or Lavinia, maybe? They have hard cast negation now. All right. I guess they're going to hard cast negate my first play. Oh, or hear me out. Phew. That draw is sweet. It's also Wasteland lock eventually. They have another Lavinia. Okay. Does mean my Renin 6 is gonna die. Let's bring back a Wasteland. But let's jam a Planeswalker here. I do lose my Renin 6, but I have established an Oko, and they've off it. Nice. This game went really well. They didn't... I'm not sure if it was negating the Bauble, but they just didn't have the cards to, like, have negation up. I do think there's something intrinsically weak about these Lurrus decks draw engine being Bauble and Lorien revealed. I don't know exactly the best way to capitalize on that, but I have noticed that if you restrict their Bauble usage and like have soft counters that hit their Lorien revealeds, they kind of can run out of energy if they don't hit like the good cards. Like obviously they can hit Ancestral into Cruise and whatever, like a classic Xerox style deck would do, but I don't know. I mean, I can't help but look at the Lurrus Saga decks and feel that they are fundamentally underpowered, and the way they're structured doesn't really lead to the consistency you think it would. But I don't know if other people feel that way. And obviously the deck is really strong and putting up incredible numbers. So I'm not. If my opponent was on blue-black, I think I'd be somewhat interested in these oofs, but I think instead I'm just gonna play these rending volleys, and I'm gonna keep in my 6 mana plus 2 oath play. Grudge seems worse than having claim. I kind of think there's like just nothing to spell pierce besides the Lorien reveals. Maybe that's enough. Oh, I guess I like spell pierce more than I like negation. I really don't like negation. Like there's like nothing to hit with the negation. Whereas spell pierce might be slightly better. I know I've said in different videos that I didn't like spell pierce in the matchup. So I don't know. Maybe I need to go back into my brain and actually figure out what I think. But I think it's like pretty wildly dependent on what kind of game happens. Like there are lots of different kinds of games that can come from a Lurrus Saga match. Wasteland games, Saga games, Cantrip games. Yeah, and you have to board differently for blue-white compared to blue-black, so. Don't know if my opponent knows we're on Oath yet, but we're not like super on Oath. We're just going to play a couple Oaths here to cheat out 6 drops, so. Unfortunately, my opponents do have Sludge to Plowshares compared to the blue-white deck. So that makes our 6 drops less powerful. But both have like ETB-ish style things going on, so even if they get sorted, there's still value to be had. So lots to think about, really. This deck is pretty intriguing. It's probably too cute, if I had to guess, but I like some of the things it's doing. Kind of just like to keep hands against Lurrus Saga where I have lands, because the way you lose most of your gains are Wasteland. If you just like don't have enough mana to play your spells. Though sometimes they have these weird draws like this. I have a claim for if there was a Saga. They're just putting Lurrus in hand. Cute. I wonder if it makes sense to hit this Pearl with a claim then. I think not. I can always force Lurrus with Spell Pierce backup as well. Also have Oath coming. Interesting. I have lots of choices here, and I have these nice fetch lands that protect my things from Wasteland. Just not always the case in the Lorien Revealed world. Let's see what opponent does. Nothing. They're going to do nothing. Well. I think that means we're doing nothing, if I had to guess. Don't think deploying Oath makes any sense here. Need our opponent to have creatures in play for our Oath to trigger this time. Like to be able to counter spell. Opponent drew a Sapphire. Man, I wish I had Collector Roof, huh? I might hit this Pearl. I don't really like the idea of playing a 3-drop into a Sapphire. I'm going to upkeep, claim the Pearl. They can top deck Saga here, but see what the opponent does with this. Nothing. Okay. Nothing. So I really want to hit land drops. Well, before the Lavinia comes into play, it's kind of nice. All right, this time I am going to just start playing some three mana walkers here. I guess it might even make sense to just play the Oath here instead. No, I mean I like this. This Dak Phaeton looks so good. Force Pitch Cruise. Force Pitch Spell Pierce. They had a Spell Pierce after this? Oh, they had a Flusterstorm. 3 cards in hand. All right, that's fine. It's just a Dak. 3 cards left for my opponent. One of them is a Lurrus. They play a Lurrus. We just oath them. Okay, so they're going to play a Lurrus here. Rebuy Pearl. We play an oath with force backup. And then we're winning. Okay. Bowmaster. Sure. Now we have to figure out what we get off this oath. Time Walk. 1 card in hand. Take 3. Take 5. Take 3, 13. Take 5 down to 8. 1 card in hand. All right, what do we hit? Is it NIV-MIZZET or is it Sun Titan? NIV-MIZZET. They have swords? Okay. Draw. Lurrus. Draw. Lurrus. Oh god, if I mill over my Sun Titan, that's pretty bad, right? I did mill over my Sun Titan. I draw my Sun Titan, it's pretty bad as well. Alright, I gain 5 life. This is kind of bad. I should have just... What'd they draw? Lavinia. That's fine. I have a lightning bolt in my yard, so... Alright, so this should just win. Eight cards left. Bring back Underworld Breach. Cast Rending Volley on Lavinia, and then Black Lotus, Black Lotus, Black Lotus. Brain freeze my opponent and kill them. Can even kill their stuff while we go. Very fun. Sweet. This deck is so cool. All right, we're back for round 4. Things are going okay. Let's see if we can continue that streak. This hand is a hand I'd love to keep on the play, but on the draw, can you really be playing down 2 cards? I think this is a mulligan because we have Reclamation Brain Freeze. Let's mulligan this hand. This hand has a Wasteland, so it covers a little bit more angles, as does Claim. Probably a keeper and just putting away the Teferi, because who knows when we'll be able to cast a Teferi in this game. Our attack doesn't really reliably produce the mana to cast Teferi. Teferi? Yeah, why not? Teferi early, and I made it Teferily. New word. Everyone has to use it. Hope we're not getting Ancestral here. Opponent is on Lurrus. We are getting Ancestral here. That was something that was very nice about the last round where we played against Lurrus. My opponent did not cast Ancestral Recall. When Lurrus casts Ancestral Recall, the deck is much better. Who could have thought? Just gonna get this Ponder in now before bad things happen to us. Petal? Wasteland. Yeah, that's the kind of game you want to engage with Lurrus, though it's a little hard to win that battle when an opponent is casting Ancestral, but they did mull to 5 before finding Ancestral, so let's just give ourselves the ability to cast this Nature's Claim if necessary, and then I have Wasteland for the rest of this game. Hopefully that's good enough. I'm behind, unfortunately, so I'm not sure it will be, but... Though I guess if my opponent plays Saga, then I can claim their Saga and Wasteland them. Oh, this plan has been destroyed. Yeah, so they're the Lurrus Deathrite Shaman version. That is notably bad for me. God, that's so much worse for me than I've been playing Saga. I just like can't enact a Wasteland game plan now that they have a Deathrite Shaman. It's just not gonna work. So, and I also don't have a Nature's Claim target because they don't have a Saga in their deck. So half my draws are all dead, basically. Man, that is horrifying. But if they, if they don't do anything, then we have some stuff happening. It's not the end of the world, I guess. Looks like it's hard cast negation, maybe. Oh, no. They have a Collect Roof, Demonic Tutor. We're getting bullied. Ah, man. I pondered with the idea that my opponent was on the Lurrus Saga deck, and they're just on the Lurrus Deathrite Shaman deck, which is completely different. Plays and wins the game. I mean, not completely different, I guess, considering the fact that it's still a Lurrus Wasteland deck. But God, I hope they didn't like tutor for Loam. That'd be a deal breaker here. That would be kind of a nightmare. I should never have kept this Ponder if I knew this was what was going to happen. Ah, they tutored for Loam. It's so bad. I need to draw negation off this to win this game. They have a counterspell, or do they have a Bowmaster? That's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but like at least we don't just like lose on the spot. Like this Loam will beat us on this. I guess we can hit Oath. We did hit negation, but we have nothing else to show for it. Interesting. If I get my Tropical Wastelanded, I can't even play this thing anyways if I get my Tropical Wastelanded, so. They just had Force backup? Sick. Baleful Strix? Yeah, I mean... Loam, Wasteland, so strong. Wasteland is broken. Wasteland is so crazy. How do I win this game? Not drawing NIV-MIZZET, I'll tell you that much. Let's concede. Well, if I draw Underworld Breach, I can win the game. So let's not concede. Let's play these out and hope it works, I guess. I can take one. Well, my opponent has a freaking Deathrite Shaman. How am I going to play Breach combo? Man, I don't know. When I see this deck get played, and I just see how much better it looks than Lurrus Saga, I don't know. Stealthy Voidwalker in the main? All right, well, now you've bested me. I'm never beating this deck. This deck is so good against me. It's got multiple creatures that hate on Breach combo. I'm going to bring in all my Oaths, I think. Can't really afford to bring in Rending Volley, though. That's another downside. I had to metagame for the Esper deck since someone came with the Lurrus Saga deck. But I need to take out Grudge and Claim. Yeah. I guess this is what we do. God, this has got to be my worst matchup. I'm just not remotely prepared for this deck in any way. I mean, I don't like if these were all lightning bolts, then I think we'd be in a better spot. But I decided to play Rending Volley because it had better utility against Mono White and Lurrus Saga, which are the prevailing decks. This is a problem when you try to play a control deck. You just can't cover the whole field every time. And I think that's also true for the Lurrus Saga deck. There's a lot of holes in that deck, just like there's holes in this deck. Very hard to cover the wide range of things you can play. That is a hell of a draw, though. If I can just Resolver. Any Resolvers? God, please just Resolve. Give me the free wins, man. I love Black Lotus Boo. Oh, let's go. That is definitely a way we can steal wins. Very similar to casting Ancestral Recall. Casting a Planeswalker off of Black Lotus on turn 1 is quite the powerful choice. Oh, Assassin's Trophy. All right. I don't have a basic. Sick on-colored jet Assassin's Trophy. Can't Reclamation my Binks and Boo either. Didn't have a... Oh my god, I'm just drawing everything that matters, huh? Sick. Okay, I have savagely outdrawn my opponent in this game, drawing only my good cards. This Wasteland plant sucks, man. It's so bad. My whole graveyard-based strategy kind of sucks. Drawing NIV-MIZZET here is like actually a problem because if I mill over everything and I Sun Titan and I can't breach, like things could be problems. Don't know. Don't know. Can I afford to Oath here? I wish it was NIV-MIZZET in my deck, because then I could like NIV-MIZZET kill my opponent with pings and stuff. Man, they hit another removal spell for Boo. Man, this deck probably has like Assassin's Trophies and Abrupt Decays and stuff. Like, it's so good against me. It's probably so good against Lurrus Saga, too. Just like the new gen bug player. Lurrus is just that good. Much better than like playing Oko or Leovold or those kind of cards. I guess if I Reclamation back my Black Lotus, I can cast uncounterable NIV-MIZZET. Maybe that's the way we go here. They're gonna eat it. It's fine. I guess I should have done this main, so I could have gone to second main and not gotten my Savines eaten, but I don't know if that matters, so. I still haven't shown them Oath yet. I have NIV-MIZZET plus Gush. That does 1,000,000 damage. So, kind of a sweet spot, actually. They're wastelanding me. treasure cruise, I assume. The cool thing is this is uncounterable, so. Also, like, almost dead to just on board. Time walk. Jesus, so strong. All right. I mean, I think we're still winning, but what a weird game. This is kind of cool, though. This is 1, 2, 3. No! I can't cast my NIV-MIZZET now. Opponent. Why are you like this? Block with everything. I guess I can kill this collector roof now, though. So I guess it's fine. So I go tropical, blue, 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 red, NIV-MIZZET, uncounterable. Cast Gush. Okay, I mean, it's pretty sweet, right? It's pretty fucking sweet. I'm swearing a lot in this video. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, YouTube. Please don't demonetize me. I'm sorry, parents of children. You can't, parents of children? Like, you can't be a parent without a child. Like, why am I even, what? That's not useful. Anyways. Obviously, we do swear on this stream / recordings. I do make an active attempt not to do it too much. But I definitely have a lot of built-in, like, what would be the word? Like muscle memory from college and rugby and football. But I think it's like not particularly useful or helpful to like swear a lot. Don't think it adds a lot, especially if you do it a lot, it makes it even less meaningful. So I do try not to do it too much on stream. But it's also not like a super high priority. This hand kind of stinks. Smelling in it. This hand does not kind of stink. I'm gonna get rid of this Spell Pierce, though. I feel like it just doesn't do enough. My opponent has so many creatures and... Swamp. Deathrite. Not this time, friendo. Not this time. Black Lotus, 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 Black Lotus. No, that's not a Black Lotus. Unlucky. I love Boo. I don't think you can play more than one Boo here, but 2 Deathrite Shamans, huh? Quite strong. Let's go get a green land and turn this one into a red land. And then if we hit a Moxen, we can walk into Boo. The whole Wasteland plan is just so bad against Life from the Lone Deathrite Shaman. Like, I guess like that is the natural metagame evolution. If everyone is basing their entire deck on Wasteland, which it kind of feels like that's the current metagame, people are just entirely basing their decks on Wasteland. If you simply play Deathrite Loam, like, you're the one ahead, right? The cycle of life and death continues, and then Bug ends up on top. A classic vintage phenomenon. Uh-oh. Blue? Ah. Baleful Strix, huh? Yeah. Alright, well, if I draw a Moxen, I can, like, boo it down, and then... Teferi. Teferi is, like, not actually good on this board, which is kind of disappointing. all I can do is plus my Teferi to make my Boo resolve. I guess that is really good, so maybe I'm wrong. Treasure Cruise negation gone for a Teferi here is like great. If I was my opponent, I might let that resolve. I have the onboard creatures, like who cares? But maybe they have another counter spell and I can counter this Boo. Maybe they have a Wasteland, that Wasteland away this Boo. Maybe they're just gonna put Lurrus in their hand. Looks like Lurrus in their hand. I guess I can't just shoot the Baleful Strix because then my Boo dies. All right, I mean, this resolving doesn't feel like it's resolving if the Deathray didn't attack, but... Oh, it is a resolver. All right, well, if I can draw 4 cards off this Boo, that would be the ideal scenario here. I also have Hardcast Lorien coming up as well. So they have played Lurrus played Deathray, but that's like not gonna get the job done. I guess theoretically I have to just throw away the Boo first because of the Baleful Strix. I have to kill the Lurrus though. Though they could simply not play the Lurrus, not attack. Looks like they're gonna go Lurrus Deathray. So we're just gonna throw the Boo at the Lurrus. That seems like the best play. Because I attack, it just gets death touched. Okay, this reads sack a creature when you do. Okay, so I am going to sack a creature. I'm going to sack this creature. I'm going to throw this at this Lurrus. I'm going to draw 4. NIV-MIZZET. That's not castable, right? Not yet. Not yet. Okay, so let's play a Pearl and cast... Trying to figure out the best way to do this. I'm gonna lose my Boo. Unfortunately, Wasteland and Pearl don't cast NIV-MIZZET. Emerald also doesn't cast NIV-MIZZET. Holy Justin. I'm not sure I'm actually winning on this board. Oh, I should probably have gotten the red land. Yes, I should have gotten the red land. All right, well, I have a force for their next play. And I have infinite mana. Who dies? And they have infinite drain. They're just playing around Besiju, which is fine. And pass. Black Lotus. Besiju also doesn't cast. All right, so I think because I'm still so far away from casting this, I am just going to hit all their lands with these wastelands. All right, let's go to beginning of combat. I have Hardcast Force. They don't have that much mana, but I'm also just like not doing anything. How many attacks? 2? 1. I can Besiju this. Baleful Strix, it just doesn't look like a good play. Brainstorm. Great draw. Sick draw. Don't need Tundra at all, unless I draw Sun Titan, I guess. Mental misstep. All right, well, kind of need this, so. Cool. And by that, I mean, like, these are not very good Magic cards, but... All right, next turn, I have NIV-MIZZET. Still think I'm supposed to ponder now. Also getting pretty close to a lot of Magic the Gathering cards. Oko, Dak, Faden. Get drained down to 11. I can steal the Baleful Strix. I can make... All right, so I'm going to go Dak, Lotus, Oko, no. And then next turn I can play NIV-MIZZET and I can play Oko. And hopefully Oko, like, gaining 3 life is enough. Okay. I think we're there. It's getting a little close, but I have another force still, so... And also this is uncounterable. All right, I'm at 10. What is this? Deathrite Shaman? I think that's fine. Just need to have my counterspell. All right, so Black Lotus. Are they going to negate it? They're going to consider negating it. It's funny. Okay. Red, blue, 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 NIV-MIZZET. Oko. I'm just hoping that making a food is going to be good enough. I think it should be. Don't need to fetch yet. Also don't want to fetch, right? I have a Dak Faden coming. Oh, they have a spell? They have an Abrupt Decay? Oh, they have an Abrupt Decay. So this is fine, because I draw the Dak Faden, and then I ping down the 1/1. I lose my Oko, but that's okay, because I still have a food token. I think I am just going to go get my land and gain life now. Could come back to bite me if they like Spell Pierce or something, but I think I just want to do that now before something bad happens. They have to beat a NIV-MIZZET, which doesn't feel like they can do. This NIV-MIZZET has been exactly what I wanted. Uncounterable, beautiful. God, it's just so nice. That's fine. I don't care about that. NIV-MIZZET has just been great. Let's start pinging some Deathrite Shamans. Maybe that's not worth it. Who knows? Blue. Blue. Red, blue, green. Excuse me. Dak Faden. Loss. Ping, 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 ping! Let's go! Trophy? All right. Round 5 trophy match. You'll notice that me talking is not in sync with me talking in the video. And that's because, man, streaming, but not live is hard. I had my home mic muted for, I don't know, 15 of the 20 minutes of this this outing. So I'm going to try to talk through what's going on after the fact. I kept this kind of combo-oriented counter magic hand. Has an Oath if I need to play like against an aggro deck or a Bazaar deck and slam an Oath. but I have all this counter magic, so I like the idea of keeping this hand, especially on the draw. Opponent goes island and then nothing, so very confused I am. And then there's a wasteland. Considered, didn't get wastelanded. So I just decided to mental misstep the Soul Ring, slow the advance. Seems like a good use of my mental misstep. If they had Ancestral, they probably would have cast it in my upkeep. So this is pretty high value mental misstep target. Now, our deck doesn't provide any ways to put Oath of Druids trigger on the stack, so we can't play our Oath of Druids here. Just have an Ancestral. Now, I'm looking very specifically to set this Ancestral up with a trap. So I'm trying to make a very common line where your opponent invests a couple spells, you counter or you cast Ancestral in response, and then when they counter your Ancestral, you trap the whole stack, getting their original spell and their counter spell and resolving your Ancestral. So that's my whole goal with this Ancestral in my hand. So I'm super excited. My opponent wastelanded my land, played a Pearl. So I'm thinking they're going to play a second spell, and then I can cast my Ancestral. But instead, they just Island Cycle. And I think it's like a little hard to ask to Ancestral here because you're so weak to Spell Pierce and Flusterstorm that it just doesn't seem correct. So we're going to try to wait it out. And we're gonna do some waiting. Let me tell you, there's going to be some waiting happening here. So my opponent, I draw a Boo, obviously terrible. My opponent doesn't draw a land, passes the turn, and so we're in kind of a waiting set. I have negation and trap to back up an Ancestral on my opponent's turn, but there's also no reason to force the issue when I have the ability to play around. I think chiefly Flusterstorm and Spell Pierce are the things that I'm thinking about the most. So I'm here thinking about Flusterstorm and Spell Pierce. If I hit a single other land drop, if my opponent just like plays no spells into a turn, then I can cast an Ancestral at an end step and at least like provoke a force instead of just getting flustered or Spell Pierced. So that's my plan. And basically just need to hit as many lands as I possibly can off the top of my library. Like there, I consider Ancestraling, but I just don't think it's worth it. So we're going to go to hand size here. The card I'm probably never casting in this game is Boo. I don't know about Oath yet. So I keep the Oath in my hand because it's quite possible my opponent's on like Initiative Tinker or some kind of like Merfolk or something. I'm not really sure what's exactly is happening. We've seen Wasteland and Mox and Triple Island. And so I think it's possible that we still will like to Oath to win the game. So we got our land drop now, so we can actually go for an end of turn Ancestral. However, my opponent casts a Mox, which ups the count, which means if my opponent were to fluster, they'd be able to win with fluster. So I decide it's okay, we can just wait again. And I'll just cast an end of turn Brain Freeze, targeting them to see what was happening. Now, in retrospect, maybe not the best idea. Maybe I should be just Brain Freezing myself, trying to hit, I don't know, Black Lotus, like a Breach or something, but this did give me some useful information. We see Repeal, we see Urza Saga, we see Wasteland and Urza himself. So some kind of maybe mono blue PO style deck seems like it's pretty likely. So we did get some information, but not as much information as I probably would have hoped to get. We do see the Wastelands in our opponent's deck, so I decide not to fetch the Tundra. I'm just going to double up on my green lands in case I get Wastelanded and want to cast an Oath of Druids. So I get my land drop and pass the turn. I can look here if my opponent plays no spells to cast Ancestral. I can look here if my opponent plays some number of spells to cast Ancestral. It kind of feels like it's going to be an Ancestral angle depending on what my opponent does. So I think I decide to cast Ancestral here, or I might wait. There's really no reason for me to force the issue. But I do have some nice things to resolve in my hand, so maybe it's time to cast Ancestral. So I cast Ancestral. I can pay for a Spell Pierce. I can pay for a Fluster. We'll see what they do in response. Worth noting here that if my opponent does have Hull Breacher, it's so bad for me that I probably lose the game on the spot. However, I think in most points of this game, I was like really lost to Hull Breacher, so I guess if they Hull Breacher, I can Gush in response, try to find a force, and then still slam Oath, so maybe that's good enough, but I doubt it. Not a lot of Hull Breachers running around. So my opponent pitches a Sphinx of the Steel Wind, which they had in their hand, but it doesn't pay hard cast, so it's kind of symbolizing that they have something else. For me, I hit my land drop. I play my land drop to play around Spell Pierce and play Narset. And then I expect to get like hardcast forced here. My opponent instead mana drains me, which I was not expecting. So be it. Mana drain happens. Again, I can't play Oath until my opponent plays a creature because I don't have any Orchards in my deck. But I have still a couple extra counter spells. But I'm a little worried that my opponent is untapping with 5 cards and 3 mana off of mana drain. Let's see what happens. Second, Urza Lord High Artificer happens, which I can't hit with a negation and I can't trap. So my opponent gets to put in an Urza. Now they have a mana to spin, and I still can't trap the spin. So we'll see what happens. Can't remember what happens. So they played 1 spell. Oh, they passed. Ah, yes. I remember now. That makes a lot more sense to what was going on in my head. So the good news is my opponent has finally played a creature, so I can actually just deploy this Oath of Druids. Here's you kind of how you see you play Oath a little bit differently in this kind of deck than you would in a normal like Forbidden Orchard Oath deck, where you'd be jamming this Oath a lot earlier. But now my opponent has played a creature. They've activated my trap card. I will play 2 mana, search up a Sun Titan or NIV-MIZZET. Pretty excited about this. Also have Hardcast Negation up. So pretty exciting. Possible I lead Gush might be better. Hard to say, because I do want to hold Gush for like negation on their turn. So opponent goes Force of Will pitching Lorien down to 2 cards. I'm going to Hardcast Negate this. And then we have to see the follow-up. Opponent is at 2 cards in hand. I have this. They cast a Spell Pierce. So Spell Pierce countering my Oath. So I have to count. I think I want to counter this Spell Pierce if possible, because Oath looks pretty winning from this spot, and my opponent only has 1 card in hand. So we Gush in response, and we do hit the Force. Force looking like a good idea. Force Spell Pierce, pitching probably negation because I can still hold up trap on their turn. I do get to play a land drop after this, so on the following turn, I will have Hardcast Trap up as well. So that gives me a pretty wide range of ability to play through. So my opponent has 1 card in hand, doesn't have another play. Oath resolves, and then I bolt this Construct token. Not sure if this is correct, actually. I just wanted to keep them off of mana. But it does prevent me from having like double Oath activation. I do think that any Oath creature is going to win the game, and I shouldn't need double Oath activation to win this game. And I thought like the bolt doesn't really get a lot better than just like limiting them from having a huge construct and keep hitting their mana. So here I expect them to spin. They have 5 mana. They have an Urza. What else are they going to really do here? They play a Needle. Needle is free. Makes sense. No problem. They should probably Needle Oko with my Oath deck. They do. And then I'm ready for the spin to happen. And the spin doesn't happen. My opponent plays a Tezzeret the Seeker, which is a huge problem. That's the second spell. Can't Mindbreak Trap it. And it also immediately puts in the Time Vault for free. And it doesn't go on the stack. So I can't Mindbreak Trap the Time Vault. Which means my opponent, if they untap with Tezzeret and Time Vault, take infinite turns. Another little Time Vault combo. So I'm a little like, ooh, this is bad. I need to draw something good. And then I start thinking about like, what can I hit? Like a Sun Titan bringing back something is probably good enough. A NIV-MIZZET bringing is actually just always going to be good enough because I'll draw for turn and ping the Tezzeret at once, and then I can cast the Mindbreak Trap, which is exile any number of target spells on no targets to cast a spell, draw a card, and ping the Tezzeret. So I actually, if a NIV-MIZZET is always good enough here, and obviously Ancient Grudge is just the nuts. So here, we can just simply grudge this Time Vault. It's going to prevent us from dying, and we can also kill the Tezzeret while we're at it. We also draw a card from casting that, shoot that. And then I thought I had a land drop here, so I cast this Wrenn and 6 with full intention to buy back a land and cast Ancient Grudge, but then I realized I cannot play my land drop, so better there to just hold up an Ancient Grudge so you don't die to something random. Definitely a worse play than playing the Wrenn and 6. I don't think the Wrenn and 6 matters from this spot very much. So yeah. Opponent taps some mana, looks for a spin. There feels like there are cards that can hurt us here, though I don't know how many. Like Tinker maybe, Pio maybe. We do have a Mindbreak Trap, but this is just a Mox Jet, no problem. So we don't have the construct in play anymore, so we don't get to Oath Trigger, bring back the Sun Titan, which is fine. This NIV-MIZZET is going to win from here. It's just, especially with the Mindbreak Trap and the Grudge Protection, Truant Oko for turn, which is actually sweet because we can just use Shelby and the Grudge to kill the Needle, and then with that we can then play the Oko and turn the Urza into a Elk, and then they're pretty much out of options. Opponent responds here to this Ancient Grudge with a little quick old Hurkyl's Recall, save all the artifacts, and this actually ends up being totally fine for us, right? We're gonna play the Oko, turn the Urza into a Elk, and then even if they were to draw like PO, we could still trap it. I guess we wouldn't be able to trap like Mox Tinker, so that's something to think about. But I think turning off the Urza, actually turning off the Urza might even be worse than just like holding up Hardcast Trap. But if my opponent were to like play a bunch of Moxen and spin the Urza anyways, you could just trap. So I think it just makes more sense to play an Oko. I don't know. Not sure. Not sure if like holding trap is better than Oko helping the Urza, but at some point like this just becomes too overwhelming. We just draw cards from like half the things we play and things are going really well. So I feel like at some point here, I recognize the fact that I cannot, I am not recording. Man, it's tough. It's like tough to record off stream when there's no fail safes. There's no chat telling you to stream is off. Anyways, the sideboarding here does matter. I think about, do I want to bring in Rending Volley for Urza? Urza does have 4 toughness, so we can uncounterably kill Urza. Is that really worth it? Probably not. What I'm thinking about here is I do think the Collector Roof looks extremely good. So I'm going to go board out all my Oaths. My opponent will probably bring in cards to beat Oath after losing to Oath. And I'm just going to board out my Oaths, board out my Sun Titans and NIV-MIZZETs, and board into Collector Roofs. I'm going to board in my Vigors, obviously. They're an Urza Saga deck. Trying to find the worst cards in the matchup. Bolt seems like it doesn't hit anything. All the rest of these cards look pretty good, though, for the matchup. So I'm not really sure what to take out as the last card. I think probably Savine's Reclamation will end up being the pick because my opponent's probably not answering all of our threats with removal. They're probably answering it with like negation sometimes. Like if they force a Will of Planeswalker, we can obviously bring it back with Reclamation. I guess maybe if they dismember a Collector Roof, we can bring it back with Reclamation. I don't think my opponent will be thinking about Collector Roof because we did play an Oath in game 1. So it's likely they won't even bring in removal. So I think Savine's Reclamation may be a game 3 kind of card. So, yeah, we'll just probably take out Savine's Reclamation here. I do like this little sideboard pivot thing. I know that, who was it? One of the Japanese players, I think, was playing Oath with sideboard pivot into Collector Roof. Though they were, like, keeping the 4 Oaths and the 4 Orchards in and, like, Oathing into Collector Roof, which I think is pretty funny. Don't really have that luxury here, but we have a nice little sideboard pivot. So I'm going to keep this, like, counter-heavy hand against my opponent. It has a turn 1 Collector Roof, which I think is very strong. Opponent could really get us here with a Needle on Lorien Revealed, but they actually choose to Needle Wasteland, which I think is a little interesting, and then it makes sense because they play an Urza Saga. So they want to play an Urza Saga game and don't want their Saga getting Wastelanded. Makes sense. But it still looks really, really good for us. If we are able to deploy a Collector Roof successfully here, they're not going to be able to activate their Saga, and then their Saga will vanish into an artifact that won't do anything. So here I'm looking at things like, oh, if I draw a land, I can play Boo. What do you have in your hand? Do you have a force? No force. Lorien Revealed, Mana Drain, Manifold Key. So for us, I think we just want to get our land and play a Collector Roof. Obviously, there are other options here. You can do things like play to Fairy Bounce Urza's Saga. You could do things like Merchant Scroll Ancestral. But I think in general, if we just take this opportunity to deploy our Collector Roof, then that'll be the best choice. I do think that maybe slight mistake here. Not really, because I'm really looking to set up Volcanic plus Tropical so I can play Renin 6, right? So I think it makes sense to get a Tropical Island. Could theoretically have gotten Tundra, and that sets up a later Teferi or something, but it probably just makes sense to get Tropical. So this is uncounterable because they don't have any counters in their hand. They have Lorien, Manifold Key, Mana Drain Key, I should say. So this turns off their ability to use this Saga, which is great. So my opponent's just going to turn these Loriens into islands so they can cast Mana Drain, and then their Saga is going to go away, and we're going to be a pretty happy camper. See what happens here. Manifold Key, Island. Yeah. Then all we're looking to do is draw lands for the rest of the game. We have double pieces of counter magic on their turn, but not on our turn. Start attacking with this Collector Roof. Now the Urza Saga gets to go away, and all they can get is an artifact that doesn't have any activated abilities. I thought maybe, hey, maybe they'll grab a needle, a second needle, but it makes sense. What they end up grabbing is actually just a Grafdigger's Cage. So, boarded in Grafdigger's Cage to be our oath plan, and then we take out the oaths. So I just realized I was muted the entire time. I'm gonna have to re-record over the beginning of that. Hopefully we'll I don't even know if it's better for me to start talking now. Cage, that's fine. Yeah, I don't have oaths in my deck anymore. That was so stupid, man. I knew this would happen. I absolutely knew this would happen. Recording off stream has been... It's had its own fair share of learning and struggles, is what I should say. So this will get mana drained, but we have... oh, this did not get mana drained. All right, cool. Definitely still getting an Ancestral. I'll just cast on their turn when I have negation back up. I think we're gonna trophy though. I can't believe I didn't. I can't believe I have to re-record that. Ah, I'm so sad, man. It's fine. No problem. Land. Sweet. Can't get Wasteland anymore, so I can just go get my Tundra as well. How worried am I of a Hold Reacher? I think I'm worried enough not to attack with this oof. Ancestral Recall, target myself. It just resolves? Don't they have a mana drain? Do they not care? Well, I can't resolve any of my things, so... we start with Teferi, which they mana drain. Oh, they spell pierced it. Okay. All right, we will not start with Teferi. Noted. Guess they could have a Snapcaster Mage. Whatever. I think playing around Hold Reacher seems correct. Playing around... I guess that didn't really play around Hold Reacher either. I guess it did because I had a negation, but Wasteland. All right. Well, that doesn't do anything. F3. He scared me. I F6'd. Wasteland. All right, well, let's play an Oko. Drain. Okay. It's fine. Oh, I guess they tried to Wasteland me and realized they couldn't Wasteland me. That's what happened. I see. Nothing off the drain. Good sign. Time Walk. So I can actually cast a hard cast negation with my Oko, but if I just go Boo Time Walk, I'm winning. Let's just go Boo Time Walk. I think that's just fine. If it gets forced, it gets forced. I think that's okay. No, they're dead. Sick. That's a trophy. Big win. Huge win. You love to see it. God bless. I even got the GGs from Bergamo. Yes. Boom! Let's go! My Magic Online broke, but you do love to see it. You, in fact, extremely love to see it. If I didn't have to go re-record the last set of this match, I would be even happier. All right. So 5-0 with Oath Kelly Oath, Classic Breach, Sun Titan Oath, NIV-MIZZET, Uncounterable Oath. Man, this was a good time. I didn't play against let's see, I didn't play against like Mono White or Jewel, but we have some convincing Jewel and Mono White plans. We played against Lurrus Saga, and we played against Oath, and we played against some other stuff. I'm super happy. This video was great. We did all the things I really wanted to do in the video. We did Boo things, Hardcast NIV-MIZZET things. We did Sun Titan Breach things. We had bolts and claims, and okay. Hope you enjoyed that as much as I did playing it. If you want to see more vintage content, make sure to check out this YouTube channel every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I will see you then.